thinking about my own house.
Yeah.
Wish we hadn't bought so much stuff, so much junk. Yeah, simple is best. Yeah, don't. And we have a few different units. We have 2 guest houses, but 3 kind of full house units, whole house units on Airbnb. You can rent things as a room. If you want. You have different options of how you want to rent your place out. I've come to the feeling that I want to rent out the whole place. It's just less hassle.
When you say place, you mean like an apartment. So an apartment might have 2 or 3 bedrooms in it.
Right.
And there may be some guests who want to just have a room.
Right.
In one of the in an apartment in hope of saving money.
Right.
And or they just like the idea of for safety. They would rather mingle with locals or other travelers. What's the difference between the people who want to rent one apartment as opposed to a room in an apartment?
I've done both. I've had different, just renting individual rooms in the house, and I've stayed there too. It's been okay, but I don't think anyone loved it. But I think people do love it when it's totally private and they don't have to share a bathroom with someone. And it's also, I think it's actually safer for them. There are less potential. There were never any conflicts that I knew of, but I think it's less troublesome. Yeah. I think Airbnb actually prefers that too. It's a little bit safer, and I think you get better review ratings. You get rated as a host, so I think you get better reviews.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will ask, is this a private place? And they're happy when it is. So yeah, I think I would recommend that. Yeah, that you rent the whole place for one group or a couple or whoever it is.
I see. Now in the real estate business, or anywhere when you go outside in public spaces, there's a big push now to be wheelchair accessible, or the person has some sort of physical challenge that they can open traditional knobs, but maybe it has a lever or a certain height, or person in a wheelchair is able to open the door, but if they're in a wheelchair, the door pulls out. It's kind of more tricky.
Yeah.
So is that an important factor in any of your properties?
Yeah. One of our places, we can't do it. It's a really high staircase to reach the unit. And then we've got a Canadian house here in Japan, and again, I think it's kind of too difficult. It wasn't really built that way. One place we could potentially do that. That might be a project for the future, but just getting the door replaced was over $7,000. So I guess you have to sort of look at each thing.
Yeah,
you want to be kind to people. For example, I went on the Costco Japan homepage and I saw a hot tub, a jacuzzi.
Wow. Okay.
And that would be kind of cool. Then I thought, then the businessman came in and said, well, would this gain you guess? It was over 1 million yen, so over $10,000. And would I get $10,000 worth of more guests? And probably not. It probably wouldn't pay for itself. It'd be kind of a cool perk, and I'd like to use it. But yeah, the reality is it's difficult. So I think accessibility is something that's great, and Airbnb totally wants that. They want accessibility, but yeah, I think you have to factor in what you can do and what you can't do. But if you can, if you can reform the place to do that, then, and it's easy enough to do, then great.
Yes. I remember a couple of months ago, you said, if I join up as a host for Airbnb, I should click on a link that you sent that you sent me.
Oh,
So somehow
right.
it connects to you.
Right.
Just since I'm just putting my foot in the door now,
Right.
what are the steps? How long is the procedure to become a host? So if I'm planning on doing this in 2022, does this mean then that it's a 6-month project? Is some kind of quiz or test or license or contract I have to sign or?
Right. Becoming a host, I think, is pretty easy. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot of paperwork that way. But working on your listing, getting photos done that show your listing, your unit well, is going to take some time. If you're going to do it in Japan, it's going to be a 6-month project to get approved, and you're going to need maybe your significant other, who I understand is Japanese, or someone who's able to hire an assistant, which I did, a Japanese assistant, to go through all the paperwork. And not just any assistant. It's going to be not everyone can do it. It's pretty difficult. So yeah, in Japan's case, it's quite strict. That's why I think there aren't so many. You mentioned teachers. I think there aren't so many people doing it. There are quite a few people buying up houses and renting them out. But I don't think there are that many doing Airbnb in Japan, unless they maybe already have a place and they're willing to go through that process, because it's not easy. And that's the reason why I haven't done more, because it was tough. Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's tough. But I think every country is different, it seems. I get the feeling in the States that it's maybe easier, or there are people operating in that gray area. I'm not sure. It seems to almost vary by city or state, is my understanding. But I don't know the state situation so well. I know Japan well. So yeah, I would check. I would advise any one of you thinking of doing this to check your local area. What are the rules? Contact City Hall, find out what the situation is. So before you do anything, is there a market? And can you even open in the city? Some cities, I think, are quite against Airbnb. It's like a threat in terms of lack of rental space for regular people. So you need to do your due diligence on all that. So don't listen to everything I say, but you got to do your research.
Yes. Yeah. So according to your video, you said you started in 2015, and your first property, when you say property, you just got a foot in the door by renting out a room in your home, correct?
That's right. Yeah. You really did watch my videos. Good man.
Yeah.
I just thought I find whenever you do things like this, you have well-meaning friends and relatives who kind of say, "Don't do it. It's it's a risk. Don't do it." But I wanted to try it, and so I rented out. I offered the one room at a discount, and I gave them tickets to go to a local hot springs as well. Wow. And I filled up May. I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. There's obviously a market